I've been knocked down more times than I can count. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Life doesn't give warnings. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It just hits. And when it does, it hits hard. I remember the moments I couldn't even breathe from the weight of it all. When I felt like the walls were closing in. When the silence in the room was louder than any noise I'd ever heard. People around me saw the smile. They saw me show up, pretend like everything was fine. But they never saw the nights I stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever feel okay again. They didn't hear the inner war, the voice saying, "Give up. You're done. You're not enough." I lost things I cared about, people I trusted. Time I'll never get back. I failed, publicly, privately, over and over again. And for a while, I believed maybe they were right. Maybe I wasn't built for this. Maybe this dream wasn't meant for me. But then, in that darkest place, I found something. A spark, a flicker of hope that refused to go out. A voice that whispered, not shouted, but whispered, "You're still here." That whisper turned into a fire that burned through every lie, every fear, every excuse. So I stood up, not because it was easy, but because staying down was no longer an option. The fall didn't break me. It built me. It showed me who I really am, what I'm really made of. This journey, it's not about never falling, it's about rising, every single time, because I've made a decision. No matter how many times life knocks me down, I will not quit.
But every time I fell, I learned something. Not right away. Not in the moment. But after the dust settled, after the tears dried, and after the silence returned, something inside me began to speak. I learned about pain. Real pain. The kind that doesn't show on the outside. The kind that makes you question your worth, your direction, your purpose. The kind that lingers long after the wounds should have healed. But pain taught me. It taught me what matters and what doesn't. It showed me that sometimes we chase things that were never meant to be ours. That sometimes, losing is actually saving. That rock bottom isn't the end, it's where the truth lives. And in those quiet, lonely places, I saw it. I saw me. Not the version I show the world. Not the filtered, polished image. But the real me, the one I'd been avoiding. The broken me. The scared me. The angry, tired, hurting me. And yet, the me that was still standing. That's when I started learning about resilience. Not as some big, flashy word. But as a quiet strength. The ability to get back up when nothing in you wants to. The ability to forgive yourself. To start again. To believe again. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't post highlight reels. Resilience whispers, "Try one more time." And that whisper carried me when I couldn't walk. It reminded me that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the classroom where success is born. Every scar taught me something. Every disappointment built a deeper layer of character I didn't know I needed. And I started to realize, this pain. This process. It was shaping me. It was chiseling away the fear. Stripping away the ego. Tearing down everything fake so that what remained, was real. Authentic. Grounded. Unshakable. I began to understand that life wasn't happening to me. It was happening for me. Even the pain. Even the failures. Even the people who left. Because without those moments, I wouldn't know the strength that lives inside of me. I wouldn't know how powerful I really am when everything else is stripped away. The reflection in the mirror changed. Not because my situation changed, but because I changed. Now I see someone who's been through hell, and kept walking. Someone who's been broken, and chose to rebuild. Someone who still has fire in their eyes, even after the rain. So when I say, I will not quit, it's not just about pushing forward. It's about remembering who I became on the way down, and who I am becoming on the way back up. This is my story. My reflection. My truth. And I'm not done yet.
They told me I wouldn't make it. Not just once. Over and over. Some said it with words. Others with silence. Some smiled to my face and doubted me behind closed doors. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You don't have what it takes. And after a while, I started to believe them. The doubts crept in like shadows, slow and silent. I didn't even notice it at first. A little hesitation here. A little fear there. A quiet voice in the back of my mind that said, maybe they're right. And that voice got louder. Louder than my dreams. Louder than my purpose. Louder than my own heart. Why are you trying so hard? No one's watching. Everyone else is ahead of you. You're wasting your time. I started second-guessing everything. Every move. Every step. Every effort. And then came comparison. The poison that kills silently. I looked around and saw people winning, while I was still struggling. Still falling. Still fighting just to keep my head above water. And in the quiet moments, the enemy whispered, "You're a failure." But here's what I've learned about doubt. It's not always wrong because it's loud. It's wrong because it's not the whole story. Doubt wants to focus on the weakness and ignore the strength. It remembers the failures and forgets the victories. It sees the flaws, but never the fight. But I remember something powerful. They doubted others before me, too. They doubted David before he faced Goliath. They doubted Joseph when he was in the pit. They doubted Jesus when he was on the cross. So let them doubt. Let them question, criticize, dismiss, and walk away. Their doubt isn't my truth. Because the more they spoke against me, the more I realized something critical. They don't get to define me. And neither does fear, or failure, or delay. Only God does. And He's not finished with me yet. So to every voice that ever told me I couldn't, watch me. To every doubt that tried to bury me, I used you as fuel. Because forever you can't, I heard deep in my spirit, through me you can. I'm still here. I'm still moving. I'm still believing. Not because I never doubted, but because I learned to keep going despite the doubt. And now, that once loud voice? It's getting quieter. Because my actions speak louder. My progress speaks louder. And my faith, my unshakable, unbreakable, tested by fire faith, speaks loudest of all. I will not quit. Not now. Not ever. Even if the world doubts me, I will never doubt the one who made me. When everything around me told me to stop, something inside whispered, keep going. When the pain screamed louder than reason, something deeper whispered, you're not done. I couldn't always explain it. I couldn't always see it. But it was there. A fire. Not a flame that flickers in comfort. No. This fire was born in struggle. It was forged in the storms I thought would destroy me. It wasn't loud, but it was powerful. It didn't make headlines, but it moved mountains inside me. It didn't always roar, but it never went out. While doubt tried to smother me, the fire kept burning. While failure tried to define me, the fire kept rising. This fire wasn't given by man. It wasn't dependent on approval, applause, or validation. It came from a place deeper than fear, deeper than pain, deeper than logic. It came from purpose. And purpose is fireproof. I didn't always feel strong. I didn't always feel brave. But the fire inside me never asked how I felt. It only asked that I show up. There were days when I wanted to walk away. When giving up would have been easier than pressing forward. When silence felt safer than speaking. When hiding felt more comfortable than fighting. But I couldn't quit, not because quitting wasn't tempting, but because something holy burned inside me. a knowing, a spark of destiny, a reminder that I was born for more than survival. I was born for impact. That fire told me I wasn't created to live small, shrink back, or settle. I was created to rise, to build, to fight, to conquer. And every time life tried to bury me, the fire pushed back. Every time the enemy tried to silence me, the fire roared louder. It reminded me, you've come too far. You've survived too much. You've cried too many nights to stop now. That fire, God's whisper in my spirit, said, this is not the end. So no matter how tired I get, I keep going. No matter how slow the progress, I keep climbing. No matter how dark it gets, I keep burning. I don't need to see the finish line to keep running. I don't need the crowd to cheer to keep fighting. I don't need perfect conditions to keep believing. Because the fire doesn't wait for permission. It moves with purpose. It lives with vision. And it refuses to die. So when you ask me why I haven't quit, why I keep pushing, why I'm still here, it's because of the fire within. The unrelenting, untamed, undeniable fire of purpose. And as long as it burns, I will not quit. After the fall, after the pain, after the doubt, comes a moment. A quiet moment. No lights. No crowd. No dramatic music. Just you. And a decision. The decision to take one step. Not the leap. Not the sprint. Not the final lap. Just the first step back. And make no mistake, it's the hardest one. Because it feels like you're stepping out of the grave. Like you're dragging your broken heart, your shattered faith, your bruised confidence back into the light. Everything in you says, stay down. It's safer here. You've already tried. But there's another voice. Soft but steady. It says, try again. Not because it'll be easy. Not because everything is fixed. But because staying down is not who you are. The first step isn't about having it all figured out. It's about saying, I'm not done. I remember taking that step. My legs were shaking. My mind was flooded with fear. My heart doubted every move. But I took it anyway. Not because I felt strong, but because I refused to let the fall have the final word. And that one step, it changed everything. It didn't erase the pain. It didn't fix everything overnight. But it moved me. It reminded me that I'm not stuck. That I still have power. That healing begins in motion. You don't need to know the whole path. Just trust the next step. And when you take that first step, you prove something powerful. That the fall didn't defeat you. That the silence didn't break you. That the delay didn't destroy you. You prove that you're still in the fight. And from that step comes another, and another. Progress doesn't start with perfection. It starts with movement. Even if it's slow. Even if it's messy. Even if no one claps. Every comeback begins with one decision. To rise. To try. To walk again. To believe again. And maybe your step looks like a prayer whispered through tears. Maybe it's getting out of bed when your heart is heavy. Maybe it's writing the dream again, picking up the pen again, speaking life again. Whatever your step looks like, take it. Because that first step back, it's the loudest declaration of all. It says, I'm not finished. It says, there's still fight in me. It says, I will not quit. And every mountain you'll climb from here starts right there. With one step. Motivation got me started. But it wasn't enough to keep me going. Because motivation fades. It comes and goes like the weather. One day it's strong. The next, it disappears without warning. But discipline stays. Discipline shows up when motivation is silent. Discipline keeps going when the feelings aren't there. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect mood. It just moves. I had to learn that success doesn't come from big moments. It comes from daily choices. From waking up early when my body begged for sleep. From showing up when no one was watching. From choosing progress over comfort. Purpose over pleasure. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. That's where the real growth happens. Not in the spotlight. Not in the applause. But in the dark. In the grind. In the ordinary. It's unglamorous. It's exhausting. It's slow. But it works. Every rep. Every word written. Every dollar saved. Every habit built. Tiny wins. Quiet steps. Consistent pressure. And that consistency? That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. That's what turns potential into power. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I started deciding to be ready. I stopped asking, do I feel like it? And started declaring, I do it anyway. Because the path to greatness is paved with ordinary days. Days when nothing special happens. Days when you don't see results. Days when quitting whispers in your ear. But discipline silences that voice. Discipline says, I don't quit because I've already decided who I am. And who I am is someone who finishes what I start. I'm not in this for hype. I'm in it for transformation. I'm not chasing a moment. I'm building a life. And discipline is the hammer I use every single day. It's not sexy. It's not fun. But it's real. And it's powerful. Discipline builds trust, self-trust. Because when you do the hard things over and over again, even when you don't feel like it, you start to believe in yourself again. You start to prove to your own soul, I keep my word. That's strength. That's character. That's what champions are made of. So when others sleep in, I'm up. When others scroll, I grind. When others make excuses, I make progress. Not because I'm better, but because I've trained my mind to serve my mission. Discipline is the bridge between where I am and where I'm going. And I'm not stopping halfway. This isn't hype. This is war. And I win by showing up, daily, relentlessly, with discipline as my weapon. Because I will not quit.